Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 40 of the Global Exclusive Podcast. Our podcast dad, Hazard, has left us. He went to get cigarettes at the store and will never come back. So this week, because it's Halloween, we're down to a skeleton crew, which is very fitting. So we've got Bharos, Dream, and myself, Muscle, here. And I think the first thing we should talk about this week is something that Bharos will be very excited about, which is that we finally got the Dragon Quest XI units buffed up to be relevant, according to Gumi. And Bharos, I want to hear what you think about this, because I mean, we've wanted this for a long time, right?
Oh my god, this was the worst day of my life.
But Bharos, they said they were brought up to par with the current meta. Are you saying that Gumi would do that? That they would just lie to us?
I mean, I'm speechless. Okay, I am like let me. Okay, I need to tell a story. Like I was sitting here at my computer. I was doing work. I was doing God's work. No, I wasn't. I was actually just doing my normal work. And I was getting these pings on Discord, and I'm like, what the fuck is it now? And then a ton of people are saying like Dragon Quest buffs. So I'm getting into the wiki channel. I'm checking out. Oh, I see that Sis has posted both the units. I check them out, and I'm like, hold on. Like, has anything changed? And then I realize they have actually buffed them to what the Japanese levels were a year ago. Like, motherfucker. I was so disappointed. Oh my god. I don't know if I was expecting too much. I don't know what you guys were expecting. But fuck me.
I was expecting pretty much exactly this.
You were? Okay. Wow.
I mean, this is what happened with Kingdom Hearts. They waited like an extra few months and then buffed the units up to a point that they were still terrible.
Yeah, but I mean, they were at least buffed beyond the JP levels, right? Right? Oh
But
god.
this is my chance for revenge, because every single week I try to get us to skip over the boring damage dealers when we're talking about them. So this week, Bharos, why don't we do a deep dive into 11's kit? Tell us about all the great things he has going on in there.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Listen. Okay.
I want to hear all about it. Tell me about what he can do. What can he do for me if I
Okay,
put him on my
first,
team?
okay, listen. 11 has actually been a staple in DV for me a couple of times. He has, like, he can both imperil and imbue himself. So that's a thing.
Oh yeah, there are so few units that can do that.
I mean, at least it's a 120 imperil. So
Oh
it's a
yeah,
bit rare.
there are so few units that can do that.
I mean, I mean, you know, like his TMR is really good if you like LB units.
I could really just hear Barros' spirit breaking.
I guess Eric can buff Dragon Killer AoE 50%,
Well,
both physical and magical.
It was
yeah.
just
Well, I
the
mean, he
first
can do
wave.
that anyway. But yeah. To be fair, the second wave will apparently be buffed before the end of the year. Now, isn't that exciting?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Eric might end up being almost as good as War Hero Reagan.
But wait, hold on. Wasn't Eric not nerfed-ish? No? Or maybe I'm wrong.
He was still nerfed because he would have been absolutely ridiculous if he hadn't been at the time he came out. But he was still like the strongest damage dealer we got by quite a big margin. Like, I think the meta was around 14, 15 billion, and he clocked in around 18 or 19.
Right.
His unnerfed form was around 32. But I think that's because like they didn't initially promise any buffs for the second wave. So I'm sort of surprised that they are actually doing them, even if they are.
I mean, there's a piece of me that's kind of hoping that maybe this means we are gonna get Dragon Quest NVAs later on. Although I don't know why the fuck they would just, do this weird thing where they revert the units back to JP. I mean, okay, hold on. This is so ridiculous. Reverting the units back to JP release versions, these units are still over a year old. And just put it into perspective. So Veronica, after she has gotten unnerfed, on a good day does less than a tenth of Kuja's damage. Less than a tenth.
I don't think that's true.
I
It
think
isn't?
that
I thought she was at like, he's at 160 and she's at like, what, top 16
Kuja
billion?
does like 100.
Okay. Wait.
Almost
100. Just like 100, 120 based on gear and
Yeah,
stuff.
but she was like 9 million before, or she was 9 billion or whatever before the nerfs, right?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant post-buff, Veronica.
Yeah, I did, but I assumed her post buff is like a 10% increase.
No,
No,
pre-buff
it's wrong.
Veronica is like 10 or 11, I think. I
Yeah.
think post-buff was somewhere between 30 and 40.
Okay, so a third of Kuja's damage. And Kuja is still like, yeah, you could bring him for DV content, I guess. That's kind of...
Yeah, but you know what? Veronica has AoE.
Yeah.
Don't you want that with mages? That's the good stuff.
So here's the thing. Serena is still good, but that's because she's a support unit, so, they just unnerved her shitty durations, and she was actually good before, so she's still good. Yeah. But the other units, come on.
Serena's a great example of how healers do not really age.
Yeah. Especially, and now she actually has her niche of being able to have full uptime on actually decent mitigation, and that's kind of been her thing. But I mean, it doesn't cost much to increase modifiers. It really doesn't. Like it can't take that long for some fucker to go into a JSON file and increase a 5 to a 6, okay? And these units are super old. As you said, Dream, they did not release a new banners. You could pull them. So if they just buff them up to like 80% of Kuja's damage or something, not even that would actually be even near, like nobody would even care because nobody would use them. People would still say it's shit. But even that would have been, a nice, gesture to the people that actually pulled on the Dragon Quest banner that got the promise of them being buffed up to the difficulty of the game at that time, right? Or it was like kind of, no, their original message was when the game catches up. Something like that. It's, oh my God. I'm just so disappointed. They had a chance to just make some people happy. To make some people, old players that played a year ago with the pulled Dragon Quest units. They could have made them happy. But they chose to just fuck them up the butthole. And I mean, like, was that really necessary? Like, I did not wake up on Thursday and thinking like, hey, I wish someone fucked me raw in the asshole. I did not.
Bharos, but tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm going to leave this segment by saying I really hope we're getting some type of NVAs maybe or something, at least.
I do think we should actually talk about Serena a bit because, like you said, she is now a fairly good healer. She's not as good as Rena, but she's probably about tied with Lena, which is she's confusing, I guess.
I mean, it's the innate dodge is relevant for single trial in the game, I guess, but otherwise, it's really nice. I mean, I always liked that niche of her. I used her several times just because it makes team building a bit easier. She does have she even has full uptime on her mitigation. She has some really nice things in her kit. She's also really, she has a high action economy because many of her abilities do two things. And you can also combine them with the next turn heals, making her really many turns you're sitting there thinking holy shit, I wish she had more in her kit because she did so much already that, you almost have nothing to do maybe on a turn because she's already done all of her work. So
yeah, for those that have never used Lena, I want to say Serena has a similar thing where Lena and Serena both have skills that on the next turn cast a very strong heal. And Serena's is basically about almost as strong as Kiraja, so it's pretty much going to be a full heal. And it's something that doesn't sound that strong, but in practice, being able to just like take an action for this turn and shift it to next turn is a lot better than you would think.
Especially
delayed heals are
considering.
super nice. Just as someone who's used Lena a lot, delayed heals are really nice.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, especially if you consider that Serena's LB is also this super nice AoE re-raise, etc. It's very nice to set up a turn where you can actually use her LB by setting up a delayed heal, making sure all of your buffs are in check, and you can just LB freely on the next turn without being like, oh no, now I have to heal the tank.
I will say that unlike Lena, Serena does not have a counter AoE heal, which is something that helped Lena a lot because it meant that on a lot of fights you were just getting even more free heals, which could free up even more actions. But Serena has more to do with her spare actions, so she gets less of them, but she can make more of what she does get.
She's actually a decent choice. As you said, it's not Rena, because Rena really crept the healer meta. And I'm gonna say, personally, I also think Sayaka is the stronger healer just because she also brings... so she doesn't have full uptime on mitigation, but she has it so she can kickstart your team on turn 1. But she brings some things that Serena can't bring, like 100% mitigation, 100% resistances to ailments and breaks, for instance. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, that's Serena's main downside, really, that her only AoE, ailment and break, and stop and charm protection is on a 5-turn cooldown with a 3-turn duration.
Yeah.
She can sort of try and make up the gap with her single target one, but that's a lot awkward to use.
Another thing to keep in mind is that she doesn't have like a regular dispel. Like she has a perfect dispel cooldown that's 5 turns, but if it's a fight where you need to dispel really often, she's going to be a poor fit for that. Whereas most other healers can dual cast Kiraja and dispel or something.
Yeah, and since she's purely an ability healer, it's an extra hit because some other healers that don't have dispel but still have like dual white magic or dual cast could still get away with, equipping Ramu or something, but she can't because she doesn't. So it's
the perfect
you're really
dispel
locked.
cooldown can make her better if you don't need to dispel very often. I think it's just important to remember that Serena has a lot of strengths, but she also has some weaknesses that you don't normally see on healers. So you want to look carefully at the fight and make sure that you're not assuming that she can do something that she can't.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like the biggest question you need to ask yourself is like, do I need ailment or break resistance? Because those things she will not bring properly for you, so just don't bring her.
Or at least if you need AoE versions, she can handle them single target fine. Like if it's just your tank that needs it.
And it's a pretty long duration, actually. It's like 5-turn duration on the single target, so she could, but still.
To be fair, AoE ones are also usually 5 turns, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, so she's nice, but like the other units got shafted, and I'm just sad. Because this was another of those really cheap chances to make people feel good about the game. And Gumi used to take those chances. Do you remember when Enhancements guy was a thing? Remember we were talking about this dude that kept giving great enhancements to old units that JP never did? Like I
think he got COVID and died.
Yeah, I hope not. Like, rest in peace, Enhancements dude. Because like he actually brought some joy to it.
We'll find out what happens with Enhancements next month, I guess, or this starting month.
Why?
They'll be back. Well, Enhancements come back in November.
Oh, they've said that, or
yeah, that was part of the roadmap.
Yeah, and Layton's. I think they put him on the back burner because they were like with COVID, they had a lot of stuff to juggle.
But wait, does JP still have Enhancements?
Yeah, they come out every so often. Actually, like Fang in the latest batch actually got surprisingly like really strong enhancements.
Oh shit, that was Enhancements? I thought she got an NVA because I read what people were talking about, and her burst was like, fuck, it was good.
So she just got Enhancements.
Oh shit.
They're actually good.
Huh.
I mean, maybe that's because jumper scaling, but like she has enough innate stuff now that she just has like STMR level passives innately. So
that's
enhancements are still rarely a thing that are good in JP. So GL has potential too.
Yeah, but I still think that guy is gone. Because, like, again, the DQ buffs or unnerfs or whatever were a perfect chance to just do that. You know, like give some joy to the community, especially to the people like me that have been waiting for these units to be unnerfed, hoping that they will be unnerfed someday. Like, they could have just, shit, if Veronica even did the same damage as Kuja, she'd still be relatively irrelevant, but people would be happy. And it's like, it's not like you're, they're old units, so you can't pull them again.
Yeah. I mean, based on what we heard last week, there's a decent chance that because they are collab units, they're surrounded by a lot of red tape and they can't quickly and easily really change them like that without going through a bunch of hoops.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but now that we've spent like 15 minutes talking about the Dragon Quest XI units, let's talk about stuff that's actually relevant.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Lucius first, I guess.
Get the easy one out of the way.
Unit. Start with the boring unit. Sure, go ahead.
So
I'm just
Lucius
kidding.
is what happens if you take Lauren and you nerf him.
Wait.
Or nerf her? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I was preparing for this segment. I was saying, like, yeah, his only redeeming feature is an 80% break. That's kind of the thing.
Damage-wise, he's not bad. He does like 170 billion-ish, which is around on par with like NV Rain, NV Cloud, NVA Lastwell. And he has decent breaks. The problem is that he only has an on-demand break in his base form. His Brave Shift's LB has an 80% break, which is great, but the LB itself is god-awful because it has horrifically bad frames and doesn't chain worth for shit. And it doesn't do much damage, and he has no LB damage in his kit. And it just doesn't work out very well. So
He also has that cooldown.
The carton thing.
Well, I was assuming Bharos was talking about his break cooldown, but that's only defense and spirit breaks. So
yeah,
for DV burst, sure, maybe, though it doesn't do any chains or damage, so that might throw off your timing.
Well,
and
the
for
break
trials,
would functionally last 2 turns, so you could use it the turn before.
Oh, that's true. It's 1 turn, not 0 turn, because durations in this game make sense.
Yeah. the thing about breaks on bosses and on what turn they actually expire, not yours, the boss's turn, is it's a bit confusing, but like you get used to it. Yeah. I mean, let's not say that, because we actually have now duration timers. So it's quite easy to actually figure durations out. I'm gonna say, like, it's relatively easy now.
Yeah, I remember back when I used to do trials, and I kept a spreadsheet open because you couldn't even see the durations in game.
Yeah,
so
I remember. Did you ever do the thing where you just like, I think I should use this ability now because maybe duration is ending?
Yeah.
In trial scenarios, basically since the start of time, I have always reapplied buffs and breaks way more frequently than I need to.
Jesus, 100%.
Yeah.
I think even though we have durations now, what I really, really want is for them to just show buff strength. Like, it shouldn't be that hard, and it would be so much nicer, because even with durations, any sort of layered buffs or breaks just make it very hard to tell.
But yeah, I mean, again, going back to Lucius, it is nice, for people that don't have Lauren, it is nice to have this breaker-ish unit that can also DPS. Yeah, I mean, he's a decent unit.
Yeah, just remember that if you want him to maintain breaks on his own, he's probably going to lose 40 to 50% of his damage.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think one of the biggest uses for him. I'm sorry, I say this every week, but usually also DV content is the only content that counts nowadays. It is going to change in JP, as I understand, but so far, right? The thing is, what you're going to use...
I would say it's more that DV requires much more of a variety of damage dealers
Yeah.
for being useful in different situations, like against specific races and elements. Trials don't tend to require that so much.
But I'm thinking, like, Lucius, you're gonna bring him into, like, if you have Lucius probably you want him on your EX +1, and if you have him, you're gonna bring him to your DD team, and he's gonna play the Lauren role. He's gonna break, and then on the damage turn, he's going to just support chain damage with whatever else you have going on, and that's actually a very, very decent use for him. Very decent use.
Yeah, he can be perfectly used. He is just very unremarkable.
Yeah.
There's also stuff in his kit where I don't get why it's there. Like, why do his abilities cost HP? Like, he heals when he attacks, so it's not like the HP costs even matter. Even if you don't have anybody else heal him, they'll still be at full.
It's a cool thematic thing.
It's partly flavor and partly it does slightly make a difference. Like if he is at almost 0 health, I think it will kill him before the heals go off.
It's a percentage of current HP.
Oh really?
Maybe.
No, it should be max HP, right?
Yeah, HP sacrifices off max. So yeah, if he's below
I thought we finally
25%.
buried that mechanic with Dark Knight Cecil.
No, so that's the thing. Like, if he actually lost HP, you can fuck yourself over by accidentally not healing first, and then you have to restart the game and reload that turn, and yeah, all those fun mechanics.
See,
fuck Lucius.
It does matter.
But again, I still want to say
with the self healing, it makes it a bit more interesting.
But I still want to say this is a good unit. This is a good unit. I'm gonna say, and the biggest drawback of him is kind of that you probably want to EX +1 him, and then you probably want to go in with his Brave Shift. You want to do his cooldown on the turn before, and then you want to chain. I guess the biggest drawback here is that he can only chain with Bolting Strike and AR. He has Divine Ruination as well. What the fuck? Yeah, okay.
I would say the biggest drawback is that he's a worse version of several units that we've gotten over the past month.
True. No, but I mean, like, a lot of people don't have Lauren. Listen, I don't have Lauren yet.
No, I mean, even if you don't have Lauren, like, his breaks are so janky. Like, outside of Dark Visions, they're not going to do anything for you. Even in Dark Visions, you often want an 85% breaker, not an 80% one. Sure. So, I don't know. I just feel like he's a solution in search of a problem.
Yeah. No, you're right. But I mean, again, decent unit. Nothing terrible. Shouldn't be too sad if you got 12 of him, given the rainbow rates.
Yeah, he's also got some nice innate killers, which can come in handy. But I don't think I'm not that excited about him in general.
Yeah, let's talk about the unit we're all excited about instead, or at least I am.
If you're evil, you can put him on your arena team and have more DR AOE counters.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, so Grimlord Sakura clocks in at nearly half of Ibarra's damage.
Yeah, but Ibarra's broken as shit. She's the wrong person to compare to.
That's half of Ibarra's unbugged damage, though.
Probably more like, what, a third of her actual damage?
Yeah.
Slightly over a third, but yeah.
Okay, look at it this way. She is on par with Aerith, who is the second strongest mage, so...
Yeah. Maybe slightly below Aerith on, average at least, about the same on burst.
Yeah.
But yeah, different elements, and she has a lot of interesting support, though, which is, a main factor.
Really is.
She's got some elemental resist buffs for lightning, dark, fire, light. And then she's got a bunch of innate killers for demons, undead, and humans, right?
Yeah, and really strong ones too.
Yeah, she's got fairly good modifiers, and she also has a physical type magic move. The modifier on that is a little bit lower unless she uses an imbue on herself, which is not ideal for Dark Visions. The mod boost cannot be dispelled. So you could imbue her and then dispel her and then make use of the mod boost while imbuing her with whatever the boss is actually weak to. But that's going to be a little clunky, but it's a good option to have. She's got a Magnus ability that does big AoE fill, which is great. And overall, I think she'll see a fair amount of use in DV just because the resist buffs are very useful, combined with the killer buffs and the innate killers and good magic damage, for at least for now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's also pretty decent combining with healers and or units that can heal, because she can fill some of the gaps that these units can have. She has a couple of ailment resistances. Again, she has a decent support kit. Like, you can actually, she has an LB move, so a move that costs LB crystals, that actually gives you 50% damage mitigation, 3,500 HP barrier, and re-raise for your entire party, which is a really, really strong ability, even in the NV era. Unfortunately, again, it does cost her full LP, so it's not something you're going to be having 100% uptime on, unless you're doing some really weird shenanigans.
Oh, I also want to mention that she has Mirage.
She does. She's kind of like a stronger ace, really. Like that's my first impression of her for DV use. She's like a stronger ace. She does a lot more damage than ace. She also has the physical type magic moves. She has the AoE Mirage, and 2 elements to imbue herself with. So it's, yeah. I mean, she's a great pickup.
She is a stronger ace,
but very slightly less flexible.
Yeah, I think the problem with her compared to Ace is that when Ace came out, he was near the top of damage dealers overall. And Grimlord Sakura is not that. Like, she's good by mage standards. By regular damage dealer standards, she's just okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not bringing her to, defeat the strongest trials, obviously, because you're going to be bringing physical units for those when you can. But again, for DV, this is a fantastic pickup. She can actually do a lot, and she's going to be. I mean, you're not going to be bringing Ace or Rem if you can bring GLS to that fight.
This is definitely the kind of unit I like to see more of in the NV area, in that she's a damage dealer who doesn't just deal damage. She has support options in her kit that are not terrible and aren't like super narrow, which is something that we really haven't seen much of. And I wish that they would do this for more units.
Yeah, shit. I mean, just imagine this cool trick that Sinzar taught me just earlier today was, so if you're bringing AC Tifa to a fight that needs bird killers. So AC Tifa is a pain in the ass, right? Because first you need to fill her LB, then you need to use her LB, then you need to use her fucking combo ability to actually get the killer you're after. So that takes at least 3 turns. You'll probably then want to finish on turn 4. But but the nice thing with GL Sakura is, okay, so you put that weird curl materia on Tifa, and then you also do just GL Sakura's 25 LB gauge fill move, and boom, she has LB on turn 1. That was the most amazing thing I've done like all week. I was so happy.
Wow, you use an AoE LB fill to fill LBs.
Listen. Don't make it smaller than it is, okay? Don't make it smaller. It was amazing.
These things are difficult for Bharos to figure out.
Okay, listen, and also 25 is a lot of LB fill. Like, not even Big Hard can fill 25 in one turn. He can fill, like, what, 24? No, wait.
It's certainly one of the biggest ones that don't involve a self-kill. Like, I mean, we've had...
Yeah, of course.
This is 28 for ages, and, like, the new Type 0 units have 40, I think. But, yeah, they're all self-kills, which you very much don't want for DV. So, yeah, it's really handy to have that available.
Lena has 30, but that one costs her LB gauge, so...
Yeah, so again, it's one that it can be used in DV potentially, but not turn 1.
Yeah.
Which is when the, like, big AoE LB fills are usually going to be used the most.
I do think that, like you said, this is probably the best turn 1 AoE LB fill out there.
Yeah, it's very nice. And I mean, it has a lot of other stuff tied to it, like when it works really well, like it actually does in this DV, where you also, like, luckily also need these resistances for that fight. It was like just an amazing ability. It did so much for you. It was good. And I mean, it's fun. Like, also, I want to talk a bit about both Lucius and Sakura. Something that we didn't talk about is that their designs are actually really nice. So they
got really cool sprites.
They did. Like, their Brave Shift sprites are really good looking. I mean, Sakura has this whole Black Witch Penny Dreadful look going on. It's really cool. She's actually riding her staff like a broom. And then Lucius looks insane. I like them both. I was super
And
impressed by both of them.
as bad as the frames on Lucius's Brave Shift LB are, the animation on it is pretty great. He like creates this pentagram and then blasts it full of fire.
Oof.
I think it's actually an octagram, not a pentagram. But
yeah.
Circle of runes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and one thing I noticed that I thought was quite surprising is actually like the base form Sakura sprite when awakened to Envy, like her staff got like quite a visual upgrade as well to its new design in the base form.
Yeah.
And normally like the NVA base forms like really don't change anything except aura.
Yeah, she did get a lot of aura though. I feel she got a little bit too much.
Yeah,
aura.
that's true. A bit too much.
Yeah,
aura.
yeah.
And I mean that seems to be quite a pattern with like old units.
Yeah,
It's
but that's
weird.
a way to make
like,
them. But that's a way to make them unique, like as if they did something, even though they didn't, right?
I think it happens because with the older units, they didn't expect 7-star or NVA to be a thing, so they started out too big too fast. Like, imagine if you could awaken 3-star Cecil all the way to NVA. Like, he was already very shiny at 6-star.
True.
Because they only expected him to go to 5-star, and then 6-star got too shiny. 7-star would be like a star in the night sky, and NVA would just blind anyone that looked at your phone.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Supernova Cecil.
I mean, like, you know what I would like to imagine? Imagine if like Chair Rain and Chair Laswell got NVAs. What would that look like? They would have two chairs.
No, their base form would just be them, and then their Brave Shift would be just the chair.
Oh shit, that would be brilliant.
No, it's like it's like the duo units where they basically swap places, so the chair's in front and then the units just standing behind it.
That would actually be even better. Oh my god, that would be great.
Brave Shift, they can only use hammers, and the sprite is wielding the chair as a weapon.
Oof, there we go. Or they're actually just sitting in their chair, and they're like, they become a magic dealer, the damage dealers. They're just, chilling the fuck out. I'd like that. But yeah, I mean,
so much potential.
No, but there are these units where it's like, I mean, obviously they just need to do these colors because they need to color over whatever they had before, and it needs to look bigger than it is. But to be honest, I am a bit sad that they reworked her staff, because every iteration of Sakura has always had her staff has been her signature thing. It always looks the same, even though it looks like, even in the Delta Star Sakura thing, the staff is black. It still looks exactly like her signature staff. But here they change it. Although, again, I really like the design, so I don't mind. But it's a shame. So yeah, speaking of this banner and so on, who else is feeling the fucking rainbow rain?
Yeah, 35% rainbow rate.
Oof. It's like, there's this psychological thing happening in my brain, because like, I know the units are really not that good. I shouldn't be pulling. But Jesus, it's raining rainbows. How can I not pull,
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a bunch of good things to get from this banner.
Yeah, I kind of want to. We should probably go over the units. Like Dracula, Laswell, Demon Rain, they're terrible. Just forget they exist.
Yeah.
Lilith is not great. If you really
unless
desperately
an arena, I
tank,
guess.
She's okay, but fuck anyone that uses her in
still
arena.
Nice.
Literally anyone.
Yeah, but Elena is the worst Lilith, though. Nobody's talking about it, but Elena is much worse than Lilith. Like, if you have two Elenas on your team, fuck you. Yes, Sinzar. I know you have two Elenas on your team. Fuck you, Sinzar.
Lilith is worse because even if she goes first, she can sometimes charm your units, which is a pain in the ass.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Actually, I forgot that.
Yeah, the charm makes Lilith a pain, but she is like her bolt. Like, she's not as tanky these days in the NV era.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be when she gets an NVA that's bad.
Some of the great pickups, like there are some really nice TMRs. Like you really, really want the I forgot what the gun user's name is now.
Photon Core, Godria.
Yeah, Godria. Yeah, Photon Core. Give me that killer.
If you want to rank highly in DV Like if you're a whale or a dolphin that's really pushing for those high ranks, multiple copies of Godria's TM is really important because it's one of the only sources of fairy and undead killer in the game, and it's even a good item apart from those stats.
Yeah. So definitely
It's,
great.
yeah.
I did a couple of 10+ ones just to get I only got 2, unfortunately, but 2 is more than I had before, so.
Yeah, now I'll have 5 copies once I finish with all the summons and get the moogles.
That's nice.
I think I like Prism Moogled one
Yeah, me too.
a few months ago because I didn't have a, and then I think I got 1 from the 2 10+ ones I did, but then I've got twice more on dailies.
Yeah, man, but it is intoxicating, all this Rainbow Rain. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else do we have?
Carden also has a good TM and STMR, but he's bad as a unit. Godria's STMR is mediocre at best.
Isn't it horrible? Like, it's actually useless?
It's fine, but it's another two-handed gun.
Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 two-handed gun STMRs, and it's like the 3rd or 4th best one.
Yeah, exactly. And he has nothing unique going for it, like having LB damage or something.
The extra effects on it are useless.
I think
it's like
it like lets you use items in an AoE, which like I could see some kind of weird situation where that was vaguely relevant, but it's not worth chasing. I have 4 copies and I haven't even bothered to fuse them. Lucius's TM and STMR are not great. Grimlord Sakura's TM is really bad. Her STMR is okay at best.
I wouldn't even say okay. It's really good if you want that Yoshi damage, but yeah, I mean, aside from that.
I mean, Lucius's STMR is strong, but mostly for Lucius and Sakura, you're going for their NVAs rather than just the items.
One thing I do want to say, the fact that a 10+1 pull is 4k Lapis, and you get a coin, and you can trade a coin for a prism, or 2 coins for a unit, or you can get some fragments, it means that even though like you need 7 copies to get a unit to EX +1, pulling for an NVA Grimlord Sakura or Lucius isn't actually that unreasonable. Not like it would have been for like Lauren. So
you actually, like, especially with trust coin prisms as well and stuff, you actually don't need that many copies of them to actually like get them to EX +1.
Trust coin prisms, and then you can also get a copy of them and their prism from the suites that we get from logins. So overall, you can get a copy and 2 prisms for free, and then if you do like 3 pulls, you can get another copy and another prism, plus whatever you get from the pulls.
Yeah, I mean, I only had a 6-star Sakura going in, and I'm going to get my EX +3 Sakura in 4 days. So
don't waste a transfer on that.
I mean, I have one lying around. I also have 2 clouds that I'm just going to burn as soon as I have the chance. So, I really would want to have an EX +3 Grimlord Sakura. She also would break 5k in both base form and, well, she already breaks 5k in Brave Shift, but it would be nice, to be able to share a 5k unit. Yeah, I know, but I would it's the friendless EP must pull. Like, I want to share a unit that has 5k Mage. It's all about the Mage.
With bad decision, Bharos.
Yeah, I know it's a bad decision, but it's an emotional one, Like, I still remember. It's so weird because some of the days with Exvius, I just remember. I remember the day I pulled Grimlord Sakura on her banner. It was just a daily, and I was over the moon. I was so happy. Used her so much. It's nice. It's nice. It's gonna be nice to have her on EX +3. Besides, on EX +3, she's probably gonna outdamage Elena when it comes to being a mage. So
I think this marks the first time that pulling for Grimlord Sakura has ever been reasonable.
I mean, come on, she was okay when she was released.
No, I mean in terms of rates.
Mana-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a reason that before, like, the start of this week, I had 0 Halloween rainbows.
Yeah,
Halloween has not had good banners in the past.
It really hasn't. That's true.
They just sort of made up for it all at once, though.
Another thing that's happening this week is we're getting like login bonuses with coins that we can trade for fragments.
Yes.
Except
The
that
login
you can only get
coins.
10 fragments per unit. And they only gave us 30 from logins, which means that you can only get 40, which still isn't enough.
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, you could use your 200 VIP coins to get the last 10 for one unit if they haven't already gone away from the VIP shop, which is also time limited for some reason.
So, Dream, I sense a bit of exasperation in your voice. Could you share with the listeners what you are a bit annoyed about?
Well, just the fact that it's limited to 10, it had so much potential to like fix a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, like for people that randomly pulled a shit ton of NV units and now can't EX plus
Yeah,
one
it's
them.
like, hey, you pulled something off banner after the like stuff has ended. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You can only get to 40 now. And we did so like even in the news that they said this was happening, they didn't say it like it was limited to 10. And so like in that same maintenance that we found out it was limited to 10, that was when Yoshi's shards went out of the store. So I was like, oh, I would have got those.
Yeah.
Shit.
But I mean, we are due
yes,
for the
now I've
we are due for the dungeon, though, right? We are due for the goddamn shard
yes,
dungeon.
we are overdue, and I really, really cannot wait for it.
I mean, we're getting it, right?
It is-
It's not. I shouldn't be afraid, right?
You should be afraid.
Well, I don't know if they are trying to like potentially use systems like this as a replacement. I think because the shop is like time limited and stuff and has an end date, I don't really think it's trying to be a replacement. If it is, they should stop and just give us the damn dungeon.
I think they might consider the fact that they're giving us the card at EX plus 1 to be adequate compensation for not getting the Fragment dungeon.
Oof.
I don't agree with that, but I think
I will just say this now: for them, no.
Yeah. Okay. So I like when I heard about the Fragment dungeon, I was a bit, because it doesn't take that many fragments in Exvius, and since you can kind of reset the level to guarantee that you get the 3 per day, it technically only takes you a month or two to get an EX plus 3 unit, depending on how much you pulled to begin with.
It's not.
Sorry?
But it's not exactly how it works with the resetting, because we like the dungeon does have problems with its RNG and resetting for stuff, and because even when you are like resetting to get a decent amount of shards for it, you can only see like how many different units you got shards for. You can't see how many of each you got.
Oh, so it's not like 3 coins pop out and then like, oh, I'm good.
No, it will only show 1 per type of shard on like the battle screen where you can reset. So yeah, you can sort of guarantee high general value by getting a bunch of different shards at once, but you can't guarantee high value of 1 shard, at least to my understanding.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that I thought it was maybe too fast to go to EX plus 3, but then it isn't. So then
it is
definitely
not.
Then never mind.
Yeah, I think there is definitely ways the JP Fragment dungeon could be improved by removing RNG and the horrible reset nature of it. But I don't know if they will do that or not. But we need it in some form.
Yeah, we definitely need it in some form. I mean, okay, I get if they don't want to do the dungeon at all, but at least they need to do something where you can get an EX plus 1. Meaning you can somehow get a hold of 50 shards, right? That's what you need.
Just make it so we can buy shards with the daily quest coins.
Yeah, but that's still it would just be enough if there was a way to just get exactly 50 in some way. Like it's a shop and it ends, you can only buy 50 from that shop, and it's like semi-grindy. So you can't do it on the day you pull the unit. It's gonna take you a couple of maybe a month or something. But if they did that would fix the problems, and then they would still incentivize pulling because you'd still want that EX plus 2 and EX plus 3 for those EPs. So, yeah, I don't know.
I would much prefer being able to actually slowly work towards EX2, because I mean you still have to pay the pearls and stuff and all the time for the grinding.
True.
But especially if EX2 abilities are going to become a thing, then having to having that be RNG based whether or not you can actually get those and get their full kit.
Yeah, it turns out EX+2 abilities aren't that great, so...
I mean, a lot of them right now aren't because they are not that, like, long after the release, but they do still, like, fix some important problems, and in future they might be, have more of a delay and be more of, like, the new enhancements.
True.
And for our listeners who aren't familiar, by EX+2 abilities, we mean in JP they started adding, for a few units, they added new passives that unlock when you get a unit to EX+2. So like NV Rain gains some attack and his LB automatically fills at the start of the turn. Gabranth gains like 500 flat defense, and I think some HP, and he auto-casts a barrier on himself every turn, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Cloud actually got a really nice DV thing. He got a 35% Greatsword Imperil, so that's really nice. But that's literally also the only thing you'd want from him. Oh, well, I mean, of course, Cloud is already a really, really strong LB burster, so...
And he got some higher mods and stuff, I think, on some abilities. But yeah, I think it was for like the first 6 NV bases. Yeah. They gave them a couple of
these. Like this might be like their version of enhancements for NV based units, except that you need more copies to actually get the enhancements, or more fragments in some way or another.
Well, in JP again, it's not that bad because it's like if you pulled one Rain, you're gonna get to a point where you might have an EX+2 Rain. We are not there quite yet. I really hope we do get there though, because it would be very nice.
Same. And like even when we do, it is still very much a slow process, but it's a process we need to have available.
Yeah, and I do get that they want to update these NVs though, because we're at the point where NV rates are low. NV rates are really low. We're all feeling it, that NV rates are low. Well, not Dream, fuck you, but everyone else is feeling the NV rates are low.
That's another thing. When are we going to increase past 1.25? Because that's overdue now.
Yeah, but not just that. Like now, what I wanted to say with NV rates are low is that it hurts really bad now, or extra much now, if you get... Well, I'm not going to say a Troll NV, because there's literally no Troll NV, but... It hurts extra much now when that NV crystal opens and it's not one of the units you were hoping it to be, right? It's your 6th Cloud. Fuck you, Cloud. I love you. I really do. But I do not need more of you, okay? I need some of the other NVs, okay? Like anyone but you, actually.
This banner really reminded me of something that I wish they had done, which is... I don't like the way that we have 1% NV rates, and what I would rather have is where we only had NVAs, but you still needed all the copies, but we had better rainbow rates. Because with this banner, even though you need like 5 or 7 copies of Lucius or GLS, it doesn't feel that bad because you pull so much stuff along the way. And even though it's probably about the same average cost if you ignore like the stuff in the trust shop and the suites, which wouldn't be there for every banner, it's probably about the same average cost as pulling for an NV base, but there's less variance, so you're less likely to get screwed by RNG.
And it's fun. Don't forget, it's actually super fun to pull on these banners. Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like that could still be achieved with just putting like a much higher rainbow rate in general and still having the NV bases.
But Muspel, you mentioned something earlier when we were talking about GLS. You said something about bugged Ibarra's damage. Do you want to elaborate on that?
So it turns out that for however long, probably at least a few years, there's been a bug in the game where if a magic ability is split into 2 portions, one of which ignores a portion of spirit and the other one doesn't, then both of them will ignore that portion of spirit. And the only other unit that this has been relevant for is Umbral Dragon Darkfina, and for her it barely mattered because the non-spirit ignoring portion had a mod of like 1x, and the spirit ignoring portion had a mod of like 60 or something. But for Ibarra,
something like that,
it means that her damage jumps up by how much, Dream?
Well, the big one, like the most noticeable one, was her limit burst, which goes from 180 base, which was already very high, to 240 base. So that's like a 33% boost, and so that makes that a pretty ridiculous finisher. And then the real kettle of worms is her stacking moves, because those have like a double-decker bug sandwich, as I've been calling it, in them, because it seems like overall, you're getting about a 40% increase on them. It seems what's happening is basically the first component, which is the stacking one that doesn't have Spirit Ignore. The base modifier is getting Spirit Ignore, and then the stacks are instead being added to the second component, and then also benefiting from the Spirit Ignore on that.
Oh, wow.
So it's just a whole mess.
Wow.
But yeah, it makes her like 40%
I mean, it makes her
stronger.
incredibly strong. I think even Muspel is going to say she's now the strongest unit in the game. Muspel?
Not the strongest unit, but certainly the strongest damage dealer.
Yeah, okay, fine. That's, I think, the closest we're going to get to Muspel actually, approving a mage as a really strong damage dealer. But she is. I mean, she's broken. I mean, she was really strong even before we knew about this.
But now she is actually literally broken in that
now she's literally
does
broken.
not function the way that she's intended.
Yeah. Although, again, hopes are very low that this bug is going to get fixed because it's still like this in JP. So it hasn't been fixed. And this is not a data bug. So this is not where they go into the JSON and change a variable. This needs to be changed.
Ibarra's unit data is fine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just that it's a bug in the game, so they need a new version of the game. And if they're gonna do that, since like the latest one in JP isn't, chances are slim. They could change how her abilities work. Like just change the mods.
They could just double the modifier and remove the Spirit Ignore, or just make it so that the tooltip says that it does as much damage as it actually does.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure how you would do that for the stacking move.
I mean, it's an obvious bug. I don't think fixing it through the tooltip is the thing. I'm definitely feeling what you said first, Muspel, where you just remove the Spirit Ignore and double the modifier, and then she'd still work fine.
The problem, though, is if they nerf her after release, they might have to give compensation to people that pulled for her based on how strong they saw she was.
I don't think that's a problem, though, because like people are pulling for a bug. Because I still want to say in game and in data, her kit is fine. Like the data says that her kit is one thing, but thanks to a bug, her kit is something else. So I don't think.
To be fair, there are people who put up videos of her killing stuff before anyone realized that she was bugged. And some people pulled based on that because they saw her one-shotting bosses that were, like, one-shotting those bosses was pretty impressive on turn 1. And now we know it's because of a bug, but some people might have pulled before they knew that.
I think she would have pulled that off anyway, though.
Yeah, quite a few of them. She could do it anyway because half the reason they were showed off was because she was calculated to be able to do that. I mean,
like she was really. That's my problem. I don't have a problem with this. It's just a bug, but like she was really, really strong even before this. Like they were. So it's not like anyone should ever be sad. Although I do remember this one unit. Don't remember what her name is, but she's the ugly unit with the hoodie and the ears, and I don't think anyone remembers her name anymore because she was irrelevant on release and many times afterwards. But she had a similar problem. You remember that, Clusterfuck?
That was quite the difference.
Well, I mean, like it's still going like, from super, super, super duper strong to still super strong, and people were still very upset. So,
yeah,
but
that was.
Are we talking about Beatrix? Oh, yeah. Esther.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was a data mine thing. Like she was never officially in the game like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was before she went live, and also, it wasn't a bug. It was an intentional change. But
yeah, true. But that's why I think
that's quite.
But this
different.
is even more lenient. That's my whole point, I guess. Like this is just a bug. Fixing the bug would be reasonable. Her kit is still super strong.
They are well within their rights.
Definitely.
To fix it and not have to compensate, but people would still cry a lot.
Although it's not the world is gonna end if Ibarra is this strong. It's they could just leave it as is. And
I think they could like make an argument for justifying a nerf without compensation, but I don't think they should do that.
Yeah, I think they should leave her as is because she's super strong, but she's also limited.
I don't think
if
they
you
should
got
leave
her,
as
be
is.
happy.
I think they should make it so that the in-game descriptions of what she does match up to what she actually does by updating the in-game tooltips and the effects of her abilities to match their actual behavior.
Yeah, you think they're gonna do that? That's much more work than just doubling her mods and removing the spirit ignore. So
I mean, that's what I mean they should do.
double her mods and
Yeah, but
remove this.
Well,
you're saying
yeah.
do that to get like the same damage as her bug damage?
Buff her.
In which case, what's the
I mean,
point?
it's so that the way that her abilities look is what they actually do.
True.
I
A point
I don't think it's a good idea for units to have undocumented behaviors so that you have to read a wiki
That's
and
true.
then read up from a thread about a bug from a year and a half ago to find out how a unit actually works.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there is a small problem to
still-
the people that don't read the wiki and just read the in-game descriptions, and they go like, wait, but Ibarra's mods are not that much higher than Grimlord Sakura's. Why does she do like 4 times the damage? I guess, but
I mean, the same applies to the wiki even, because the wiki will still show like the mods as they are in data.
That's true.
But
yeah, you kind of have to like be on the Discord or read Reddit to know of this. So
I guess the problem I have with like that suggestion of like making her moves like do the same amount of damage but unbugged is it's sort of fixing neither the cause nor the effect of the bug.
yeah,
But yeah, I think fixing the cause isn't going to happen anytime soon because it's a JP thing, and fixing the effect would be lowering her damage, which will cause the community to cry a lot. But
true.
yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell what best they should do, and I mean, even as strong as she is now, it's still going to take a few months for like damage to catch up and overtake her again. That's not that bad.
Might not be that long actually. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It depends where you evaluate terror, I guess.
It's hard to tell just because of the way that Gumi treats the JP schedule as a vague suggestion at best. So
True.
I mean,
true.
Mog King events have been fairly consistent, and terror's not that far away on that schedule. So
yeah.
That might be quite soon.
I think it's like this. It's very easy for them to jumble anything that's not licensed content, right? Because licensed content has been paid for probably and written a contract for already, or in some way, agreed upon, right? So Mod King content usually is Final Fantasy content, meaning that they paid for it, and that's probably gonna come out as it should. Whereas, Soul's story event, yeah, that that can go out whenever the fuck,
I mean, that's it. Yeah. Like the next Mod King event on the JP schedule is the Kingdom Hearts event. So we will see what happens with that in the next few weeks.
Yeah, interesting.
Hopefully next week is Soul, because it has been like 6 weeks since a story event.
Could use the Lapis, if anything.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we should probably wrap up here because we're hitting the end of our scheduled time. So next week we'll talk about, I don't know, whatever comes out next week.
As we usually
still don't know. It's gonna be a surprise.
And we'll hopefully have Cotton and or Shadow there.
Yeah, we're missing you, Cotton and or Shadow. Wish you were here.
Them having commitments like real life things to do and being sick. What amateurs.
Yeah, come on.
Also,
this is where it's at.
Also next week, I guess we will have, actually done DV and can talk about it.
Oh, yeah, I actually look forward to that. I want to see just how powerful Grimlord Sakura is going to be for me, because I don't have Ibarra. So I'm definitely not ranking number 1 this time around. But let's see what rank I actually get.
I'm not sure how important Ibarra would be to ranking number 1, but we'll see.
Pretty important, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm feeling it's gonna be, or at least it's going to be trivial with Ibarra, or maybe trivial is too strong a word.
I don't think so. I think by the sounds of it, like the last few, like couple stages, or at least like the last magic one, and potentially the final one, are pretty tricky to cap this time. So like, I think perfect scores will be possible, but will be harder than last time for sure. Quite a bit, like even with Ibarra potentially.
Although, to be honest, I hope that's the case, because I really don't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the scenario where like 1,000 players get rank 1. It's much more nice if like rank 1 is possible, but it's borderline impossible, so that only the people that really have the perfect setup, the perfect items, can do that. That's what I like, kind of, because then also you don't have this weird compulsive drive to get rank 1 since everyone else is getting rank 1.
A specific milestone. But I mean, after like a few months, that won't be a problem anymore, because once we get like the damage cap increase and stuff on the last few stages, it will be literally impossible for a perfect score, I think.
Wait, so it's not, but wait, I thought it was still, you needed to just cap at 2.1. No.
No, it's 2.1 for like the first 8 easy stages, and then I think it was around 10 billion for the cap on like the 3 hard ones, actually. So it does increase quite a lot, and like the score just keeps damage score just keeps scaling at the same rate up to it. So I think the actual max damage score was some like random arbitrary number. But this is like, I don't have a full confirmation on that. That's just a bit of word of mouth for now. But we'll see in future.
I think that's going to be good for DV, though. I think that's going to be good. All right, well, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
See you next week.
See you next week. Also, Cotton and Shadow, you better be fucking there or I will break your knees.
Don't worry, he's on the other side of the ocean.
No, I will fucking swim the ocean to break your knees. I will do it.
Don't worry, he can't swim.
That's true. I'm actually too fat to do cardio. Like, please, Jesus Christ, I would die like 200 meters into the water. All right, have a good one. See you next week.
For like 4th time.